You know, as listening to Mike a little bit talk about that, and having lived through, you know, multiple labor disputes in baseball throughout my career and my childhood, CBAs are a reality in any business with organized labor. They're a challenge for anyone that works in the business that cares about the sport. They're a challenge for the fans, for the communities, because they're necessary, but it's not what we love. You know, we love the games, and we love the competition, and we love you know, the potential impact that it has in the community, and the role that our franchises can play. So when talk shifts to how that pie is divided, there's not a lot of sympathy. It's an underlying reality that it has to happen, but it is a very challenging emotional time, and I'm taking a leap and projecting that on these two guys. I can tell you, having been through it, it is for me, and it is very tough, and it's very, you know, it's something that you hope that both sides recognize what's at stake. They recognize the inherent greatness of the game of baseball, the game of football, the game of basketball, and the importance of the fan of those games, and that collectively the players and owners. And I think in the current world, I really believe this, with the underlying challenges that we have globally, locally, and nationally, that you're going to see a different spirit of negotiating. I mean, maybe I'm being Pollyannish in saying that, but I really believe that. And the tone that I'm hearing, either from the commissioner's office or from the union, is that there is some recognition that our games, particularly baseball, I speak for baseball, cannot afford, you know, a prolonged work stoppage. That we need to recognize, you know, what we have. We need to recognize the roles that we play, and we need to get through that period as fast and as seamlessly as possible.
I'm sure sometimes probably hard to separate the emotion from the business side. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I mean, well, it's extremely difficult because you get a lot of free feedback on a daily basis. Whether I'm dropping my kids off at school, and Mike, who's dropping his kids off at the same school, is yelling advice at me. No, or whether it's, you know, whether it's no matter where you are, whether you're, you know, out on the soccer field, or whether you're, no matter where you are, you get a lot of free advice. You can't turn the sense, you can't turn it off. You know, it's there, it's in your face. You cannot listen to talk radio, but that only limits one small portion of it. And you're competitive, and competitiveness in general brings emotion, but emotion and momentum-based decision-making usually undermines a strategy and undermines a plan. So you've got to have checks and balances organizationally. You've got to have systems in place that prevent you from making emotion and momentum-based decisions. You've got to pull back. You can't avoid feeling the emotion, and you can't avoid being competitive, but you've got to avoid making decisions that are being inflected, you know, and that create a tipping point at that moment.
And I think just to build on that, if you look at the NFL, the last labor, strike that we had was back in 1987. So, you know, we're in 2009. There's been labor peace over those years. We've had some court cases, but there's been football on the field since then. We've had a cap system in place. As I indicated when I first started remarking, I was the beneficiary of having that in place, so I'm in favor of it. But starting in 1994, so from 94 on, we've had a cap system. Now you start to come to an uncapped thing, and there's uncertainty on the player side, and there's uncertainty on the management side. And I think, you know, as Mark says, you know, the fans don't necessarily care how the pie is divided, but in the end, you have to do something that's right and fair for both sides.
You know, as Mark, just to build off one point Mark talked about, is there is a, you know, we have a scenario here where there's been tremendous investment from an ownership perspective in these teams, and certainly an expectation within the marketplace to do whatever it takes to make winning happen and represent the community the best way possible. We're in a very unique historic period too, with what's going on from a global economy and local and national economy perspective. And you have this portion in time too, where you may have a lot of owners who have been, you know, as part of their adjunct of businesses, that they've, you know, been investing in the team. And when I say investing, you know, covering losses from that end. But you have a point in time too, where on a national basis, there's a lot of people whose, you know, owners whose day jobs aren't maybe doing as well because it's been subject to the same issues and challenges that have been going on with everybody else's business out there as well. So, but, you know, still have the investments that they have to make from a team perspective. So there's a lot of unique moving parts out there, but there seems to, you know, from a positive perspective, seems to be recognition, hopefully from everybody at the table, that those circumstances are real and have to be dealt with in the collective discussions.